You're listening to episode 18 of the TA Pedals podcast. Wow, can you believe it? I'm Tristan.
And I'm Stephon.
What's up?
So, 18, that's a big number.
That's a big number. You know, I hear they say that if you make it through the 18th episode, you'll never get a divorce.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
It's something like that.
There's always, like, when I was growing up, my mom had this unspoken rule of every 7 years is like, that's when you get the itch or something, and that's when she ends up splitting up with her husband, which she's had several of. So 7 is that number for me.
I've actually heard 7 is that number as well. And funny enough, this July is my 8th wedding anniversary.
Nice.
So, yeah. I guess we made it.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think that you and Sydney pretty much set the standard for like a good marriage.
I mean, we try to.
Like, I know I don't know everything that personally goes on, but like when you guys have great communication and you guys get along with each other very well, and I think whatever problems come your guys' way, you find a way to fix them, and that's in my eyes, those are keys to a good marriage.
Well, thank you. We really do appreciate you saying that. That means a lot.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what we've always aimed for. You know, like we got married because we both knew pretty much right off the bat that we didn't want to be without each other, and we didn't want to be with anyone else. And she's my best friend, you know, and like if she's my best friend, then I'm gonna treat her like she's my best friend. Like I want to spend time with her and do fun stuff and together, and you know, we talk about things that interest us. And you know, Sydney and I are actually pretty different. We have music in common, but outside of that, not really a whole lot, you know. But we still make sure to express to each other that we're interested in each other's interests, you know. And like she started playing Magic and stuff, and we've recently found that we both like, you know, like crime documentaries and stuff like that. And I think, you know, the key to marriage is, you know, communication, but it's also like having grace for that other person too, and like realizing that they're a person and they're going to make mistakes and you're going to make mistakes, and you have to be willing to overlook it and pick up after them sometimes without, you know, getting aggravated about it because you're partners. And like, you know, they always say like, be kind to other people because you never know what they're going through. Well, that's like even more true for like someone you're married to. Like you should be more forgiving towards that person, even when they're doing things that inconvenience or aggravate you. And it's hard to do that sometimes, but I really think that that's the key, is just treating them like they are the most important thing to you. And like you wouldn't do anything to purposely hurt them in retaliation. You wouldn't do anything other than do what you think is best to take care of them and make sure that they are okay, you know, financially, mentally, physically, all of it. And just treating them like they're your best friend.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yeah. That's sums it up pretty much.
It's just, you know, my parents and her parents both, I think, dated for like 3 months and then got married. And I was like, you guys are crazy. Like, I would never do that. Like, how can you get to know someone that quickly and make that kind of decision? And Sydney said the same thing, you know, like when she was younger. And then actually that's exactly what we ended up doing too. And, I obviously wouldn't advise that for most people. I think that it is hard to get to know someone fully, within that short amount of time. And living together is much more complicated than it seems like at first. Like there's a lot of little things that might, become a big deal to you over time or whatever. Like you don't see every facet of that person's personality and habits. And so I wouldn't recommend making a choice to marry someone that quickly for most people. But like the only, like I can't really explain how, but I just knew with Sydney. So, I'm happy.
Sometimes like that's how it was with me and Diana. That it was like I met her and like I knew as soon as I like the first time I seen her in person, like I knew that was gonna happen.
Really?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
I looked at her and I was like, I'm probably gonna marry her.
How did you guys meet? Like I don't really know much of your story really.
It's kind of weird. Like we Facebook had introduced this new like Facebook dating kind of thing, and I was on there just because I was single and I had been for a little while, and so like I put myself on there just to have some more way of connection if people were interested or whatever. And so she messaged me and on there, and we talked for a while. I don't know how long. I would say at least a couple weeks. We're just messaging back and forth. And then I invited her over to my house, and she brought some cards so we can play poker and stuff like that. And like she got to my house, and I opened up the door, and like that was it. Like I knew at that moment, like that was it. So like our first date, I guess, went really good, and she was really outgoing and fun, and that's the kind of person I need in my life, because I'm not like that really. So she brings out a side of me that I wanted to have and didn't know how to do, so like she compliments me and I compliment her, and it works out really good. And I knew from that first moment that like she was going to be the person that I wanted to be with for the rest of my life. So, I mean, we didn't get married for another probably 6 months. I think it was about 6 months before we actually went and got married. But like, it was like at that moment, that's when I made that decision is, so.
Yeah, sometimes you just know. Yeah, I think that I asked Sydney to marry me after 3 months, and I think we dated for like 5 or 6 months before we actually got married. But yeah, sometimes like you just know, and why wait? If you're positive, why wait? Mm-hmm. And you guys are a great couple too. Like when we went to Fayetteville together for your ankle, I was just like watching how you guys interacted with each other and stuff, and yeah, like you guys are perfect for each other. But you're so different though. Like you said, like you guys are very different. Like she's really fun, and she's got a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
Yeah, she knows a lot about like medicine and stuff too.
She's really smart.
Cool. She's smart.
That's one of the big things for me is intelligence. Like not just like having knowledge of things, but being able to pull that knowledge out on a whim and being able to expand it at any moment by doing research or reading something. Like not a lot of people have that these days. Like mm-hmm. I know there's a few older people that are like that, but like the newer generation, there's not a lot of them that are in tune with that. I would say it's kind of hard to explain, and I probably sound like a jerk by saying these things, but like
I get it.
Really, like the people, like the newer like the younger people younger than me, and I'm 32. All right, and this doesn't include you because you're in that category too. But I would say people in their mid 20s and lower, they just don't have that passion to have knowledge as much as we do. You know what I mean? It's not like there isn't people out there that are like that. It's just the majority of them are not.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of those things that like waxes and wanes, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if it has to do with the accessibility of technology. Because like, I feel like if I were not me and I didn't have a thirst for knowledge like I do and want to be able to store as much information and to be able to recall it later in conversation and things like that, like I would probably be like, well, why do I need to know those things when I can look it up in 5 seconds on my phone?
Yeah.
And I feel like that like we've talked about before, we were born at a weird time where it was like technology was like, we came up with technology and it was being introduced as we got older. And so when we were in school and like different things, like it was still really harped upon that you needed to study hard to retain knowledge so that you could, you know all these things and know how to do these things, at any given point. But now it's like, if you don't know how to do something, just look it up on YouTube. Or if you don't know something, like Google it really quick.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't feel like it's necessarily, specifically, in my opinion, a lack of thirst for knowledge. I think it's more like they seem to be putting more of their resources into the creative side of things and coming up with new ideas instead of retaining like the like pragmatic know-how to do things off the top of their head.
Yeah.
Like they have tools and information at their disposal so they can put more energy into the creative process and stuff like that. But I mean, that's just, I'm sure that's not everyone.
Yeah.
But I see that in some younger people.
I can see that from a certain standpoint, but for me, like having a conversation, if there's no knowledge of something, or if there's no intelligence of something involved in this specific conversation, then I'm not interested in it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Definitely.
And like, so for conversation purposes strictly, I'm not interested in the further discussion we just had about those specific people's.
Yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
It's even just doing this podcast has, I feel like, helped me speak better in conversations in everyday life, and just conversations that I have like at work or with my wife or whatever. I feel like I choose my words more carefully, and I try to be as specific as I can. And that's kind of actually just come about as this whole pedal thing has grown. It's come because of that, because we have to communicate ideas so specifically. Mm-hmm. And so if I don't choose the right words to try to accurately describe what I'm trying to convey to you, then you aren't going to understand fully what's in my head. Yeah. And even if I do choose my words carefully and try to use the best words that describe whatever I'm trying to describe, it's almost like no matter what you do, there's still going to be something lost in that conversion of thought to speech.
Yeah.
But that's like a whole nother thing. Like that's where like language is just kind of a crazy concept anyway. Like it always makes me think of the part in the movie Year One.
Oh yeah.
Like after he eats the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, and he's like, I feel like I know everything. And then he starts thinking about things like, where do babies come from? Where's the sun go at night? And he's like, what is what is this? I move my mouth and a sound comes out, and he says my mouth makes a movement and a sound comes out, and you know what I mean? Blows my mind. That's how I feel. Like, I'm like, why? Like, we make a sound with our mouths and then know what each other means.
Yeah.
And then other people do that too in other languages, and like, these people make these sounds and these people make these sounds, and we don't understand what they're saying. And there's so many different sets of sounds and shapes that you can write on a piece of paper, and it's all just like trying to like get thoughts out of your head into a medium where someone else can understand what you're thinking, and that's weird.
I mean, it's weird to think about that in that way, but at the same time, it's not weird because we've been doing it for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. But like, I guess the invention of language is what blows my mind. Like, it had to have taken so long to develop it, and like there's so many words. There's so many words, and you can kind of, even if you don't know exactly what a word means, you can kind of get a rough estimate by looking at the root word. And so like when you look at the root word of I don't know, I can't think of anything right now, but you have to think of all the words that are like associated with that. And that system, the fact that there is a root word for almost every word that we speak, and that root word can be applied and transformed in so many different ways for every word that you can think of. It's just kind of mind-blowing how refined it is and how long it took for us to develop that. Or humans, we didn't do that. But
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I mean, and it's ever expanding.
Yeah, it's always growing.
It's crazy.
I'm pretty sure that selfie is in the dictionary now. And like,
there's a lot of
twerk. Like,
there's a lot of weird words in the dictionary now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like they were like slang words, and now all of a sudden they mean something.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So we have a specific topic that we have today, right?
I don't know.
Question.
Do we?
TA Pedals, episode 18 Q&A. We want to answer your questions on your on our next episode, which is this one.
Oh yeah.
So we've got a few questions.
Oh, sick.
Here's one question, and the reason why I'm asking it is because I don't have an answer, but I'm pretty sure you do.
Oh, well, okay.
All right. So
hit me.
Up from the Skies says, what is the best power supply flow to avoid noise?
The best power supply flow. I'm going to assume he means like, what's the best way to power your pedals to avoid noise from like electrical current, like from your house or whatever, like 60 cycle hum, or I think in Europe it's like 55 hertz. That's not a complicated question, but there's just things that we have to take into account. So first of all, there are pedals that are just noisy. It's inherent that pedals with gain are going to introduce noise. Also, depending on which, I guess like the current draw and some different parameters, digital pedals can be kind of noisy too. I would say as a general guideline, you want to get a power supply like from Voodoo Labs or I believe that
there's several brands.
Yeah, there's so many. I think even One Spot makes one, but it's important to get one that has isolated power supplies. So nothing that's like daisy chained together. So like whenever I first started, I was using a One Spot. So it's like, it's 2-prong plug-in. You plug it in and it has one, it's like used to power one pedal. Yeah. But then you can buy a daisy chain that hooks into that one power supply what do you call it? Plug, I guess. The one power supply plug off of the one spot, and then it has several plugs that come off of that, and they're all linked together. That's going to introduce some noise into your effects chain and all that. But if you have something from like Voodoo Labs, like the Pedal Power series is great. Even they have the Mondo, which is a giant power supply that supplies like I can't remember how much amperage it supplies on the highest, and I think it's like 750 milliamps, which would power like pretty much anything. Those are fantastic products. I have a Voodoo Labs Pedal Power 2. Maybe it's the Plus 2, if that's a thing, I can't remember. But it's anything with an ISO, like each power supply is isolated, is going to be your best bet for reducing noise from your pedal board.
I think we should just give a little bit of a shout out to Gorva Designs. They just put out an isolated power supply that does a lot of things.
Oh, no way, really?
Yeah.
I guess I haven't seen it. I'll have to check it out.
It does, it looks like 7 outs. And they have various different milliamp voltages. It has a USB charger plug-in, and you can charge a 9-volt battery on it, and you can charge your iPhone on it.
That's sick.
It is pretty sick, and I think that's a pretty cool design. And if you were like, let's say you were touring or something like that, you're on the road, it could be pretty useful if you're on stage and you want you need a USB power, and you need to charge your phone and you need to charge your pedal board all at the same time. Like it's a pretty useful tool
also,
to have.
There are a lot of people who use like iPads to like play music live. Like you can just call up, like chord sheets and different things like that, lyrics, whatever.
Yeah.
So like that's really useful. Love Gorva. They're awesome. That's an awesome company.
Yeah, they put out some pretty cool stuff for makers and otherwise, like just tools for you to use to make your things better. Like it's a great company. I'm sad that we don't use them for anything, but they are interesting, and it would be cool to have a power supply like that. For me personally, it would be pretty cool.
I would love to use their enclosures too. We just run into the problem of like the whole UV printing situation. Like we don't have a UV printer. If we had a UV printer, or if there was like a way that we could get Gorva to start doing UV printing or whatever, we could definitely switch to Gorva and have some really dope enclosures.
For sure.
Hint, hint. Hey, Gorva.
Yeah.
Let's work.
So I think, so another question, unnamed question, I would say, is what style distortion does the Shark pedal have?
Oh, okay. So people are starting to ask about the Shark.
Yeah.
Okay. The Shark is cool and it's complicated. So it's hard to say. The topology for part of the circuit is kind of based on like a Marshall style distortion. Like we've changed it from that original idea so much that like it's kind of hard to say, but I guess you could say it's Marshall styled.
It's still at its base has the Marshall tones.
Yeah. It's hard to put that into words.
Yeah.
But when you say Marshall, like people know what you're talking about. So yeah, like it's Marshall at its heart. It's like kind of like JCM 800 tones a little bit, but like, so when we were designing it, we switched the clipping diodes from 1N4148s or we also considered using the one in 914s, and we wanted to change it to have less distortion actually, because it like the
We don't want it. We didn't want it to get anywhere near fuzz territory.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm trying to say. So we used 3mm blue LEDs to clip instead, and so those have a lower forward voltage, and so they clip later than other diodes, so you end up with less distortion. But before you get to those clipping diodes, it is driving the op amps and stuff like in such a way that like you still get a pretty saturated tone, but you get from the LEDs, they respond differently. I've heard people say that clipping LEDs in a pedal are kind of like they respond like a tube amp, and I don't know that I would go that far, but it definitely responds to your playing more. And then something that's like gonna almost immediately clip. They have more headroom essentially, and so you can like dig in when you're playing the guitar, like pick harder, and it'll produce more distortion. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. And plus the LEDs, they actually light up. Like, you know, when you clip LEDs, they give off, like when they chop off the transients and they start to like compress your guitar signal and chop off, like they clip. I don't know why I'm making it complicated. When they clip your guitar signal, that extra like voltage is dispersed in as light. And so the LEDs light up when you play it, and it's really cool. I'm actually going to make a video of that soon showing it.
Yeah, I think the best way to describe what style distortion is just to compare it to a Marshall.
Yeah.
It's got the Marshall tones, you know, obviously. It does have a lot of gain, and if you turn everything up all the way, it does start to self-oscillate, but you got to turn everything up all the way to do that. And I don't think that if you turn one knob down even a little bit lower than all the way, it doesn't oscillate at all. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that they're, as far as Marshall style pedals, I think we're one of the first to succeed in having that much gain and not having the self-oscillating problem until, you know, at the point where everything's all the way up.
Right. Yeah. That was one of the big issues that we ran into when developing the Shark. Is like it worked and everything kind of like it functioned correctly, but like once you got your volume and gain more than like past like 11 o'clock, it would start squealing, and that wasn't cool. Like it had, I don't know if it was just like because of the gain structure or what, but it was definitely self-oscillating. And once we plugged the buffer into it and made it a buffered pedal, it like took all that away and restored all the functionality of each control.
Yeah.
And that's pretty dope.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. We fixed it. We fixed it to where you can have all that gain on tap and not have any issues with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty cool.
Like I've actually been kind of curious, like what the Shark would sound like with like silicon diodes in it instead of the LEDs. And I'm glad we went with the LEDs. Like it's perfect. It's exactly what we wanted because it dialed that distortion back to an appropriate level for what we wanted for this pedal.
Yeah.
But I wonder what would happen if we switched those clipping diodes and gave it a little more oomph.
I don't know.
Me either. I'm going to find out one of these days.
I think that you're getting into fuzz territory once you like silicone or lower. I think that's fuzz territory.
True.
But like, Yeah, I think so. We have the Vampire Squid Fuzz, which is our fuzz pedal, and that's a distortion pedal. The Shark is, and you can get lighter distortion by not turning the gain up all the way.
So, it actually cleans up really well. Like when you have the gain around like 7 or 8 o'clock, it's just like a nice edge of breakup tone, I guess. I don't know what to call it, but it's just like a really light gain overdrive, and it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
So, something just happened, and I'm just going to ignore that. That's why we're being weird right now, because it happened twice, and I wasn't expecting it, and I'm just going to ignore it, and I'm not going to even say what it was. But I know you know.
But yeah, we're really happy with the way the Shark turned out, and we're glad that so many people are interested in it.
Yeah, it's dope, and I'm gonna build one for myself pretty soon.
Yeah, we got another batch of stuff coming through that should be here within the next week or two. Where we can put out more Sharks for people to buy. So definitely going to snag one of those for myself. And you will too.
Oh, I have to. I can't wait any longer.
Yep. And we are finalizing that secret pedal. Yep. And it's almost done.
I think the test enclosure for it'll be here on Thursday. And then I just gotta wire it up because the board's already done and stuff. So
that's exciting.
It will probably take me 20 more minutes, and we'll have a working.
As soon as it's done and it's ready, it will no longer be a secret.
Oh,
I think we're gonna post what it looks like, and what it does, and then maybe a few more weeks later, we're gonna release it. I think that's great.
Yep, it's gonna be so cool. I've been waiting so long. So, do we have any more questions for our Q&A?
No.
Dang. Well, okay, maybe next time.
You can answer your own question if you want.
I don't know if I have any questions.
Well, then I think it's joke time.
Okay, cool.
It's joke time.
It's joke time.
What do you call it when dead cows smoke weed and play poker?
What?
High stakes.
Okay. Like poker?
Yeah.
My wife wants to play poker so bad.
Really?
Yeah. She says she's really good at it. She is good. Just, I don't know how she would play in a real setting, in front of real people, because I've never seen that, but I think she'd probably be pretty good. I have a joke.
You do?
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's joke time.
It's joke time. I thought the dryer was shrinking my clothes. Turns out it was the refrigerator all along.
My God.
It's so true, isn't it?
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know if you noticed or not. Like, this is kind of on topic. You see that right there?
Yeah.
Can you tell the people what that is?
It looks like a metal tray from a Hispanic restaurant.
Oh, well.
To-go.
I wish
like
that's what it was.
To-go container.
So, this is for everyone just listening. There is a metal container on my workbench where I make pedals, and it's completely empty. And I'm going to tell you something. It's not from a Mexican restaurant. That is a pie. That is a full-size pie.
And you ate it.
That I ate while I was making pedals. It's empty. Sydney, and then I got home from work yesterday. Sydney was like, I think I'm going to have some of that pie. I was like, I don't think you are. She's like, you ate the whole pie? I was like, I can make another one. I was hungry. Oh, crap. Yeah, so it was the refrigerator shrinking my clothes. Cheese. Cake.
Cake. I ate a whole pie. Now I'm thinking about eating a whole cake.
Well, Sydney has like one of her hobbies is baking.
Yeah.
And so she just like is always making stuff.
Yeah.
Cakes and apple pies and, like I'm not a huge fan of sweets. Like I don't really like sweet food. And even though like, yeah, there's a missing pie right there. That's like a pie that my family makes with like cream cheese and lemon juice and sweetened condensed milk. And there's like no sugar in it, like no added like granular sugar or anything. So like it's actually kind of sour. It's kind of hard to explain, but yeah,
it's like a key lime pie.
Yeah, it's got that same tartness exactly, but it doesn't have like any fruit or any like lime flavor or anything like that. And we normally put like a fruit like topping on it, or like pie filling is really good on it. So we can make it like strawberry, blueberry, cherry. But I just really enjoy it plain, and that's what kind of pie that was. And I can't resist. It's too good.
Yeah. I have a weakness for blackberry cobbler and the apple pie with the crumbles on top. I'm not sure what the specific name for those are, but those two. I have a weakness for those.
Do you like lemon stuff? Like lemon custard?
Not particularly. I mean, I will eat it. But I don't, like, I'm not going to go to the store and buy one for myself.
Right.
You know what I mean? But, like, if it's available, I will eat it.
That's the kind of thing that, like, I'll eat it all day long if it's, like, homemade. Yeah. But I won't go out of my way to buy a pre-made one. Yeah. Like, especially, like, a frozen pie that you have to, like, thaw, like the Edwards brand and stuff. Like, those taste good, but, like, it's not the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I want it homemade. But, like, really well homemade.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
Cheesecake.
Yeah. Cheesecake. I get that, like, the cheesecake thing from my mom for sure. She could go to town on some cheesecake. That's her.
We live in the wrong part of the country. You know that?
Why is that?
Because where I'm from in California, there's a restaurant called Cheesecake Factory.
Oh yeah. Have you seen one here?
No.
There's one in Oklahoma City. It's by Penn Square Mall.
Yeah.
And I ate there once I've eaten there like a total of like 3 times, but the whole like 6 years I lived in Oklahoma City, I only ate at Cheesecake Factory once.
They're expensive.
Yeah, they are. And the cheesecake's pretty expensive too, but yeah. I mean,
it's worth it though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like I really like their like Cajun pasta that they used to have. Cajun chicken pasta is really good. Yeah, I think it was bow tie noodles, which
I can't wait till tomorrow.
Pasta. What's tomorrow?
Tomorrow's my cheat day.
Tomorrow's your cheat day.
Yeah.
What are you gonna have?
Everything.
That would be my answer too.
Yeah.
You just like on your cheat days, you just pig out and have whatever you want.
I'm on a pretty strict diet because I went to the doctor and they told me I was pre-diabetic, and I don't want to do that. I really don't want to be a diabetic. It's if I can avoid it at all costs, I'm going to, and that's why I went on a diet, the diet that I'm on. And so since I do so well on it throughout the week, I give myself, one day to just eat whatever I want, and that keeps everything at bay for the most part. So tomorrow's my cheat day, and I want Wendy's, and I want some sushi, I want some ice cream and some brownies. I could go on, but I'm not.
So,
why are we talking about food?
I guess we're hungry. Yeah, I have one more food thing to say, and it's just funny. Like, so Sydney and I are trying to do, like we're trying to eat decent too, and I have to avoid certain kinds of foods because of my gout diagnosis, which we haven't ever talked about on here. I'll probably talk about it one of these days. It's not that important, but it's interesting to me, and I'm pretty young. I just turned 30 and I have gout, and I think that maybe like I could relate to some people, or some people could relate to me, and we could connect in that way, because it's just a weird situation, and the parameters you have to live in is to like keep gout flare ups at bay. It's kind of weird, but but Sydney and I tonight we're gonna eat like Mexican style rice, like what you get at Mexican restaurants around here, that like orange colored rice. And so I'm trying to perfect that recipe to like how I like it. And the last time I made it, it was like really overpowered, like tomato flavor. And so I'm gonna cut back on the tomatoes. I'm adding like jalapeno and onion and some stuff. And it was really funny. The funny part of this story is like, so first of all, I found this recipe on TikTok, and I've been trying to figure out how to make this rice for so long and couldn't ever find it. And like, so I saw this girl making it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, you toast the rice in oil until it's like golden brown, and then you like blend up like a tomato and onion, and if you want jalapeno and whatever, and add garlic and whatever." And then you cook the rice in that instead of like how you would normally cook it in water. And then when everything reduces, it turns that, like orange color. And the other day I, at work or whatever, I came up to you and and I was like, "Hey, I figured out how to make that like Mexican rice." And you were like, "Yeah, what do you mean you figured it out?" And I was like, "I figured out how to make it finally. Like I've been trying to figure it out." He said, and you said it's just rice and salsa. And I was like, "No, it's not. It's rice and tomatoes and jalapeno and onion." Oh, I'm like, "It is." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I was so bummed.
You made your own homemade fresh salsa and then cooked rice in it.
Yeah. And I felt like I did something, dude.
I mean, you did. I mean, like the fact that you made everything fresh is its own thing. But like at the same time, like I'm glad you're expanding your cuisine skills. Like it's cool.
Yeah, I'm trying. There are just things that I can eat, like certain foods, and I'm trying to get more vegetables in my diet and eat things that are natural and like less processed. And so like rice has really been a lifesaver for me. Like I can have like white rice with eggs in the morning, just like scrambled eggs and white rice. And sometimes I'll put soy sauce on it. So it's almost like fried rice without the vegetables, which is pretty good and gets me my carbs in the morning to start the day off. But then like, doing like rice with salsa rice, doing that with just like some queso and a tortilla is pretty good for me. I just really need to avoid like high fructose corn syrup and red meats and stuff. Like, so, even though like I'm not having to, but even though I'm eating pretty much only rice for like an entire meal, I actually really like it, and it's better for me in certain ways than a lot of the food that I previously ate before my gout diagnosis. Dude, I was a monster and I didn't even realize it. Like I was just eating sugar left and right, and most of my calories were coming from soda. And like I don't really drink soda at all anymore. I think I've had one probably 6-ounce cup of Coke this week, and that's like the only soda that I've
Regular
had.
soda, by the way.
Yeah, regular soda.
Yeah.
And I hardly ever drink diet either, just because like I'd rather just drink water than diet soda. If I'm gonna have soda, I'd rather most of the time just go for it and deal with the consequences, which haven't really been too intense so far anyway. So I'm trying to be a good boy, but it's really tough.
Yeah. Well, I think
That it?
yeah, I think we're getting close to the end here.
Yeah, we said we were going to do like 30 minutes so we could do this live video.
It's probably been a little bit more than 30 minutes.
It's
now.
actually been 46. It
All
really
right.
doesn't seem like it, but
Well, we are gonna end it here then, I guess.
yep, let's end it.
It's over.
It's over. Turn your radio off. Go listen to our other episodes. There's 17 others now. There's 17. We have 18 episodes total. Did you guys know that? Hey, are you proud of us? We did 18 episodes, one per week, 18 weeks in a row.
Crazy.
It's pretty nuts.
Anyway, we did what we aimed to do. We had our little Q&A thing, and we talked about some food and some personal issues, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably going to be the title of this episode. Probably going to be like Q&A and personal issues.
Personal issues and Q&A that's not related to personal issues.
Yeah.
All right, well, you guys have a great day, and hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.